Hi everyone, this is your favorite friend Jay or Jaylan Salah, as you formerly know her, film critic for In Session Film, Geek Vibes Nation, and Keith Loves Movies. Today I have the pleasure of interviewing composer Marco Werba on his career in writing film scores, most lately for Ziad Hamzeh's emotional drama Hello Beautiful, which I have the pleasure of watching and interviewing both the director and the author on which the book was based. Um, Marco wrote amazing film scores, like for films like Dario Argento's Giallo, Farida by Mohammed Zawawi, L'Île de Pardon by Rida Bahi, Calibro 10 by Massimo Falsetta, many, many more. I'm so happy to talk to you today, Marco. Thank you for talking to me.
My pleasure. I'm very happy to be a guest of your radio or TV show. Yes.
Okay. So, first passion is usually the one that lasts most. And your first passion, unlike other composers, film composers, was cinema. I want to know how the first passion came and then how composing music for film
Yeah.
came.
Sometimes it's destiny. My father was a reporter, a journalist of the Variety magazine. He was an American journalist. He was a reporter from Rome, Italy. Actually, when I was born in Spain, he was a reporter from Madrid. But there were still the dictature of Franco, and so he asked to move to Rome, to Italy. So he was always writing articles. He was not very often going to see films, but fortunately, at least 3 times, I had the chance to go to him to see films. And one of those films was a sci-fi movie called Logan's Run in 1976 by Michael Anderson with Michael York and Jennifer Agutter. And I really was impressed by that film. It was taken from a novel. And at the first time I saw the film, I didn't realize that there was a beautiful music. As most of the people who go to see a film, if they are not trained, they are not aware that there is music. They receive the music as emotion, not as music. And that's what happened to me. I was maybe 15 years old and I didn't notice the music. But since I loved the film, I went to see again the movie a second time and the third time. At a certain point, like, a revelation, I realized that there was a wonderful music by Academy Award winner Jerry Goldsmith, American composer, who I
Yes.
had the pleasure of meeting after a few years. And that was the reason why, instead of becoming a film director, as I wanted to become when I was 15, 16, 17 years old, I also realized 3 short movies in Super 8. I realized that I wanted to become a film composer. So I started to buy LPs of film scores, many LPs. Through the years, I bought more than 200 LPs. And by listening to the music of the other composers, I understood who were the composers who had a personal style and who were the others who didn't have a style. And I started to study music to become myself a film composer. And this is what happened.
So, you were saying something very beautiful. You listened to composers and you started distinguishing who has a style and who doesn't. What did their music tell you? Like, tell me specific composers you realized you don't have a style. Who are you? Every film is different from the other. And another where you felt like you could see this invisible thread of this style.
Okay, I can tell you who are the composers with the most personal music style. In my opinion, the most personal composer, was a personal style, was British composer John Barry, who
Oh,
won the Oscar for Dances with the Wolves by Kevin Costner, who wrote most of the music of the James Bond movies, and who wrote the music of Robin and Marian with Sean Connery, or the Lion in Winter, uh, for which he won the Oscar. So he was an important composer, and you could recognize his music style only by listening to the first few seconds of his music, because the style was so personal, it was immediately recognizable. And also Italian composer Ennio Morricone and Nicola Piovani have personal style, had, because Morricone is not anymore alive. And also Francis Lay, with whom I worked, French composer who had a melodic style. and a French composer, Georges Delerue, had a very personal style. The others have a style, but it's not so personal, so immediately recognizable. That's the point.
Awesome. Okay, you described that music gives the emotion to the film and not
Yes,
the other way around. So, how do you think? Because you made me think of all the films where I realized I would never love this film as much as I did without the music. Like I would
exactly.
never love The Piano, directed by Jane
Oh,
Campion,
yes, I
without
another film.
Michael Nyman. I
Yes,
could never imagine what it would be like without The Heart Asks Pleasure First, or even got like Dances with Wolves, because I loved the idea of interacting with nature, but without, like John Barry's music, where would that leave it? So I want to know, as someone professional, a musician, does the music work? You have like those still scenes or those movements, and then you put music. How do you drive us? How do you manipulate us into feeling this is just emotions?
well, it depends on your own sensibility and also on the requests from the director. The director could have an idea which is different from your idea. So you need to find a compromise between your vision and the director's vision. They don't always are the same. So you start by thinking to a few music themes that could be related to the music characters of the movie and to the plot. And you propose those films to the director. If the director accepts those music themes, then most of the job is done. You need only to synchronize those music themes with the different scenes. The other point, which is always very important to me, is to decide in which scenes you really need the music. Because if you put too much music in the film, you will ruin the movie.
That's so true.
So the directors always often are afraid of silence. So they want to have a lot of sound effects, a lot of music, a lot of dialogues, and that's a problem because they will disturb each other, sound effects and music. So I always try to convince the director that it's better maybe to, in that scene, to not put music, to leave only sound effects, but when you have the music, to put it at the right volume, not only in the background because when a music is written to be played loud and you put it in the background, it would lose his energy, his force. So it's always a matter of balance between those elements, and you need to have a dialogue with the director and the editor and the producer to find the right balance. That's the point, yeah.
Okay, so I want to know this moment when you, Marco, was in the movie theater and you discovered Jerry Goldsmith, also who scored five Star Trek movies, Planet of
Yeah,
the Apes,
exactly,
Happy
exactly.
Alone, Chinatown, a
Yes.
legend. What did you find in his music that made you realize, wow, I want to do this. Like, I want to be this. I want to do this to people.
Well, Logan's Run, I don't know if you know that movie.
Yes.
It was a Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer production. It didn't have the success it deserved. I don't know why.
Mhm.
But it was a very interesting sci-fi movie because it was about the survivors of a nuclear war, which is a subject, unfortunately, very still present today, still uh,
Yeah.
possible, unfortunately. And the survivors of the city of Washington were living inside the city completely isolated from the outside. So the people living there were not aware of the sun, the light, the nature, the animals, the plants, and whatever, because they were living completely isolated from the rest of the world. And Logan, who was a policeman of the period, of the future, realizes that something is wrong. Something is wrong, and he succeeds to go outside from the city together with a woman who will become her fiancée, his fiancée, and he discovers another world. And he understands that the world he served until now, until that point, was a wrong world. And he tried to go back to the city to change the situation, to destroy the computer who was controlling all the lives of people. So a very interesting movie. There are many subjects, and the fact that the element that was surprising to me is that Jerry Goldsmith wrote a very modern electronic music for the city of the future, and a very traditional orchestral music for the scenes outside the city. And I found this a very good idea. And so that's the reason why I listened to all his film scores, and I bought his LPs, and of course the LPs of other composers. I met him in Rome. You know, at that time, many composers were coming to Rome, to Italy, to record, because there was the lira here in Italy, and the dollar was higher. So it was less expensive for the American productions to come to record in Rome. So this is why I met Jerry Goldsmith in Rome. I met Bill Conti, the composer of rock, in Rome, and Georges Delerue. Now, unfortunately, the situation is different because the euro is higher than dollars. So for them, it's not good. It's not convenient to come to record to Rome. So they go to the Eastern Europe, like Prague, Budapest, Bulgaria, to record the film scores. But at that time, they were coming to Rome.
See, just maybe for the stars to collide and you to meet them. So how was it like meeting your heroes? Because sometimes it could be both ways. It could be like the most wonderful experience in the world, and it could be like, I wish I didn't meet this
Ah,
person. He would have been great in my imagination. How was it?
well, Ennio Morricone was a very difficult person. So I went to his house. We went to dinner with a few friends, but I didn't really become friend with him. Instead, Francis Lay, who won the Oscar for Love Story,
I know Francis Lay, Love is Blue.
was so kind, so humble, that we became friends. I went to Paris to meet him 2 or 3 times, and then we worked together on a film, an Italian movie called Amore, Libertà, Masaniello, about the Naples of 18th century, and he accepted to write the love theme inside my film score. So I was the composer, but he wrote the love theme. It was an exception because usually he wrote all the music of the film, of the other films. He made an exception for this film, and so we had a very nice collaboration together. Unfortunately, he passed away a few years ago. Yeah. So that depends on the character, on the personality of those composers. Some were very easy, kind. Some had a difficult character, no? As always.
As all humans, you're right. Okay. Before I get into Hello Beautiful, which is a very beautiful film, as the title says, as a poet, because I write poetry, my head is always filled with words. And because I also write short stories and scripts, I have characters. Do you, as a film composer, have characters in your head or music I want to know, like, what is it like inside your head?
Well, I don't know myself what is inside my head, but sometimes I'm surprised that I succeed to find the right music theme for a movie, for a character, you know? It becomes almost I don't say easy, but in all those years, almost 40 years I'm writing music for films, I've heard so many music themes, so many. And when I listen again to most of those music themes, I'm happy. I realize that I have found the right music themes for those movies. And so I impress myself. How did I succeed?
Bravo, Marco.
It's I don't know how to explain this, you know.
Yes.
Again, it depends on your sensibility, on the experience you have throughout the years. More experience you have, more it's easier to find the right music themes. Usually, no, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so like the more you become like a pro in your field, the easier
exactly.
it becomes. The character, boom, music theme. Okay.
You know, the problem, actually, the problem nowadays that most of the film producers, they don't want anymore a music theme for a character.
That's
They
true.
want more a sound design, new age kind of film score, and that's something I'm not very happy with that. Fortunately, most of the directors, almost every director with whom I worked, accepted to have a music theme inside his film, 1, 2, 3 music themes. But I see that most of the producers and directors, they think that have a music theme is something old-fashioned, and the new tendency is to have music without any personality that you put in the background and will not disturb the dialogues. Electronic music, which is very easy to do. I mean, it takes a lot of time to write music for orchestra, but to do, a sound with the keyboard, you can do it in 10 minutes, So I don't like very much this kind of film score.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You totally have the right to, because I don't. I also find character themes to be the most impactful. I always associate characters with their music themes in my head, at
Yeah,
least the intro, whatever. So totally agree. Okay.
yeah.
Hello, Beautiful is this very emotional film. So the music for a film like that must have been also an emotionally impacting one. Directed by Ziad Hamzeh. I want to know how you got involved in this project and how you structured your score for it.
That's a good question. Ziad Hamzeh was the producer of The Island of Forgiveness by Rida Bey. This is why I met him. And he was so happy with the music I wrote that we recorded in London with the English Session Orchestra that he immediately think of me and hired me to write the music of his movie as a director, not only anymore as a producer or anymore. Anyway, both as a director and a producer,
Yes.
because he's also a producer of the film. So we had a long talk about what should be the music, what should be the right music for the film. He didn't want at first melodic music, which is something I immediately thought that was the right music for the film, was a sad, nostalgic, melodic theme. But he preferred to underline the energy, the energy, the courage of the main female character. So I started to write a more solemn music. But after he listened to the music demo, he understood that maybe the music was too heavy, too important. And he went back to the first idea that I proposed, so a nostalgic music theme, which I found, I think, the right music theme for the music, especially for the end scene of the music of the film, which is a very strong, important scene. And I worked with a lot of passion on this film, which I believe a lot, also because myself, I had a cancer, so it's a minor subject that I can understand. And I convinced him that it was important this time to record in London with members of the London Symphony Orchestra, a dream I had since 40 years. I was always listening to the film scores by John Williams, music performed by the London Symphony Orchestra. Philip Sard, music performer at the London Symphony Orchestra, and said, "Oh, when will I have the chance to work with those musicians?" When I was proposing to record in London, they were telling me, "You are crazy! It's too expensive to record in London." So, and Ziad, and also the author of the book, was very kind and wrote a very interesting novel from her own story, understood at the end that it was important for the film to have the name of the London Symphony Orchestra attached. So they made an effort, Ziad made an effort to invest a little more money, and we went with, not Ziad didn't come, but the author of the book came in London, and we recorded with 20 strings and one flute, one oboe, and one French horn of the London Symphony Orchestra. And that was a very important experience to me because I have had a lot of respect for British musicians and was very happy of this first collaboration with the London Symphony Orchestra, even if it was not the full orchestra, it was only 23 musicians. But it was an important experience for me. And I think also the performance was more heart-touching due to the fact that we recorded with those excellent British musicians, I
That's
think.
so true. It heightened the emotions. It's spectacular.
Yes, yes. I really hope that this film will have the right space it deserves and will win a few awards because Ziad worked a lot on the film. We really made a lot of passion. They invited me to the set close to Boston in the small town close to the sea, not far away from Boston. And I saw the crew that was very professional, you know, from the DOP, the director of photography, who made a very good job, the quality of the image, to the sound engineer who made a very good quality of the sound. It's not always easy to find a good sound engineer that will make a good recording of the voices. Sometimes, you know, I work for productions here in Rome. They hire bad sound engineers, and the quality of the sound is so bad that they have to dub the film
And it's
because there are
better.
noises during the dance. Instead, there were no noises. The quality of the sound was perfect. So congratulations also to the sound department of the film. And so I really believe in this film.
And it's a beautiful film. I totally believe in it too, because it has a lot of elements. Like it's a family drama, it's a journey. There's a lot of elements. It just goes beyond even, you know, like what you would initially perceive. And the music complemented it like beautifully. It kind of took us on this journey. So I want to ask you about other
Thank you.
music journeys. Like you composed Giallo, Dario Argento. How does it feel to compose for a genre film?
Well, I did other genre films, but this collaboration was very important because Dario Argento is the most well-known Italian director for thrillers and horror movies. He's well-known also outside Italy,
Yeah.
and the film production was American. Producer Richard Rionda del Castro has his company in Los Angeles called Hannibal Pictures. And there was in the cast Academy Award winner Adrien Brody. So, you know, it was a big responsibility for me because, you know, I was working with a director who worked with Ennio Morricone, with Keith Emerson, with the Goblin Band, with Pino Donaggio, with Claudio Simonetti. And I was working for a film in which the producer of the movie, the Richard Rionda, trusted me, even without knowing me. He trusted me and he hired me to write the music of the movie, of course, in agreement with the director. So I had, you know, the responsibility in 3 weeks to complete all the orchestration, all the synchronization, to fly to Bulgaria and to record the music and to give the music in the period of time they gave me to complete the score. So it was a big responsibility, you know. I had to really concentrate on the work in order to give the music in time. That's the point.
Definitely. So you told me that you also composed for other genre films, and I find music for horror films and genre films very difficult because, you know, it could take you on a different journey, or it could just leave you, you know, like, okay, I don't care. So how do you approach a genre film, specifically like sci-fi or horror?
Well, there are two ways of approaching a genre movie. You can write an orchestral music in the vein of Bernard Herrmann, the composer of Hitchcock. That means that you use the orchestra, or you can write a more modern kind of new age music like the one written by Mike Oldfield for The Exorcist,
Yeah.
who was a model for many other electronic music style. By, for example, John Carpenter wrote the music of his own movie Halloween,
Yeah.
and the music he wrote was in the vein of Tubular Bells. Same thing, the Goblin Band, when they were working with Dario Argento on Deep Red or Suspiria, I was in the same style. So there are two different music styles for the same genre. It depends on what you think it's the best solution for the film.
Yeah.
For Giallo, I preferred, and Dario Argento agreed, it was better to write an orchestral music, so more in the vein of Bernard Herrmann, than not Tubular Bells by Mike Oldfield, so to make those two examples. And so I concentrated on that style. I mean, orchestral, symphonic music, in sync, perfectly in sync with the images, and trying to select really the best, the important scenes that really needed to have music. because Dario Argento wanted to have a lot of music in the film. I tried to convince him that it was better to not put too much music. It was not easy to convince him
Is
because,
it
of course,
scary?
he's a well-known director. But at the end, he accepted my solutions. For example, to not have always the orchestra, which sometimes is heavy. Sometimes I used some electronic sounds in the film score, only one sound, a single sound, or one flute, just to change the orchestration in order to not write always powerful, heavy music for the film, no? To change the orchestration. It's a solution, for example, to change style inside the film, Yeah.
I love this. So I take you to another project, which seems, I think, more, for me, I think it's more romantic, more subdued, like L'Île de Pardon, the Island of Forgiveness.
Yes.
And I heard Rose's song with you and Alan Williams, and I cried, like I really cried. So I don't know how you approach this beautiful Tunisian movie.
Well, it's a nostalgic movie. I love films that talk about the past, about uh, regrets, something that will not come again, and you have a regret, a nostalgia of the past.
Yeah.
There is a difference between romantic music and nostalgic music, which is not always easy to understand. I'm more nostalgic than not romantic, but sometimes people that doesn't notice the difference, they think that I'm a romantic composer.
Yes.
I'm not. I'm not. I'm more a dramatic, nostalgic composer. And the music theme I wrote for L'Île de Pardon was a very sad uh, music theme that became a song, beautifully performed by Alan Williams, and who also wrote the lyrics actually. And she's a wonderful singer with whom I worked again on a Spanish movie called Ibris, and I wrote a new song. I will send you the link. That will have a premiere on October 3 in Spain. I will go to the premiere in Spain, the film festival.
Wow, congratulations.
So I had two collaborations with Ellen. I hope, of course, there will be other in the future. And she's a really excellent singer. Yes. Yes.
So romantic music and nostalgic music. To an inexperienced listener, please explain.
Well, romantic music could be a very positive melody in major. There are two modes: major mode, minor mode. Major mode is usually happy. It gives you positive emotions. Minor mode is usually for sad music themes. For example, Love Story by Francis Lay is in minor and is a very sad music theme.
Sure.
The music theme I wrote for Hello Beautiful is in minor. L'Île de Pardon is in minor. So there are more nostalgic, dramatic music themes. For example, let's say Colazione Tiffany, the film, the comedy, romantic comedy,
Breakfast at Tiffany?
is called Tiffany, Breakfast at Tiffany
Yes, Breakfast at
by
Tiffany.
Henry Mancini. Yeah,
Yes, and
that's a
Audrey
romantic
Hepburn.
music.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, I get it.
That's a romantic music. Positive. No, it's melodic, but it's positive. It's not sad because it's in
That's so
major.
true. Mm-hmm. This is
That's
why I'm so
mainly
happy listening to it.
yeah. That's mainly the difference between those two sensations. And not all the people can notice that difference, you need to have a good ear and some experience to notice those differences.
That's definitely, I think this is true because I think I was always focusing on music scores because my mom has like a great musical ear and she would always tell me, even when I was a kid, like, listen to the music of the film and know why you feel sad or scared watching this film and stuff. So I think this is why I was curious about it. So you're true because sometimes you would make a conversation with someone and talk about the music of the film and you would feel like we're not communicating, we're not connecting because I think differently from how you view this. So I totally connect to what you say. And I also want to ask you, like, okay, so this passion for music, you have done a lot of things. Like you, okay, you sang in the Vatican choir, you did
Yes,
Gregorian music, religious music, wrote concert music, and still your love for music scores for films prevailed. Now I want to know, what is it about cinema that makes you that passionate?
I still have the passion for film music, and but I wrote some concert music. I wrote a few compositions for concert, like an adagio for the victims of Auschwitz for oboe and strings, was performed in concert and recorded in Budapest. And I wrote a mass for choir, for soloist choir. I wrote a few adagios, especially this adagio for the victims of Auschwitz, which I'm very happy. And I wrote a piano concert that was not yet performed. I'm looking to find an orchestra who could be interested in performing the premiere of this piano concert in 3 movement, but they didn't yet find it. Yeah.
I really can't wait to listen to it. Now you're making me very
Ah, yeah. No, I'll send you the new song performed by Ellen Williams
Please.
because it's in the vein of Rosa's song. So it's
This
truly emotional, sad, again, sad music theme because it's a thriller. So it's even more sad, maybe more romantic than the music of Lille Dupardon. And now, for example, I had very interesting Italian film project about the life of a composer conductor who, at the time of Second World War, unfortunately was a soldier in Prague and was collaborating with the Nazis.
oh,
And a friend of him, who was a Jewish musician composer, he tried to help him, but he didn't succeed, and he was very sad about that.
mm,
And so what he did, he took one of his composition of this Jewish friend, and he put his name, the name of of
the Jewish
this
composer.
composer,
Yeah.
because he thought he was dead. You know, his friend was dead in a death chamber, and he became famous, well known, using the composition of his friend.
Oh,
After a few years, the friend was not dead. He came and he said, "This is my composition. You need to put my name." So a very interesting movie where the
very.
music is very important. There will be in the film a concert filmed inside the movie. So I need to write a composition that in the film should be the composition written by this Jewish composer. Instead, it will be my composition. And so I need to record it before the shooting, and the shooting will start in October. So
Mm,
we don't have so much time to organize things and to find the orchestra and to complete this composition, and it need to be approved by the director, of course. And so, but it's a project that I'm interested. I love films that are partially set during Second World War. I don't know why. It's an historical period that is very I'm very attracted to that period. The Nazis, the Jewish, the fascism in Italy. Oh, this period is something that I don't know why it's interesting to me. So this film that is partially set in during Second World War uh, and about the composer and conductor is particularly interesting to me.
very interesting.
Yeah.
What are you dreaming? Like, what do you aspire to now, other than this Italian project that you have? Like, what does Marco want to do, or what are your dreams, and what drives you every day? This is what I want to know.
Well, I will tell you something I always said to people is that many years ago I went to see a fortune teller. He was a friend of my mother, and he was the fortune teller of Federico Fellini. So the director was not sending his film to a film festival if this man was not saying, okay, you can send it. So he trusted him very much. He was, I don't know why, someone who really was able to see the future.
Oh,
I went to see him. I was maybe 15 years old. I was not yet a musician. I was not only a film lover, let's say. And this person told me, Marco, your future is music and films together. He will write many music for films. He will work with a well-known Italian director of thrillers. I work with Dario Argento. You will work with American film, and one day you will have an Academy Award nomination.
Yes.
So I believe in what he said. I will not win the Oscar, but I will be between the finalists of the Academy Award. So I'm always joking. I said I cannot die until I will not receive this Academy Award
You will
nomination.
not.
The
You
day
will,
after I can die.
you will live and you
And
will
so
take
maybe
it.
one day, so
Yeah.
maybe no, with that, if he said I will not win, I believe in what he said. But to be the finalist, it's something, so many
It's an
just a few
honor.
composers succeeded to be finalists, between the four or five finalists of the composer selected for that year. It's almost a miracle, to succeed to that. So I hope that in the next 10 years I will succeed to have this goal, this 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 goal. Yeah.
Yes. If he said it will happen, it will happen. You will have that nomination. I'm sure of this.
I don't know for which film. It probably will be an American movie because otherwise the possibilities are so few. Since I'm trying to work for American films, and maybe I will succeed in the next few years to write music for a few American films. One of those American films maybe will have this chance to have nominations in different categories, such as music. Oh, maybe it will be already Hello Beautiful.
Maybe it will be
We will have an Academy. We don't know. That would be
manifesting.
great. It would deserve to have an Academy Award nomination, Hello Beautiful.
Definitely, definitely.
It would
Manifesting.
deserve, but they are not star. The film doesn't have stars in the cast. So when you don't have stars and you don't have big productions around, it's difficult you succeed to get to the Oscars. I mean, they were very good actors. There is a very good actress, Trisha,
Wonderful.
but she's not
A
Nicole
mega star,
Kidman.
superstar. Yes, yes.
You see, she's not a Nicole Kidman who is a star.
Yes.
So we will see what will happen.
We'll see. Life surprises us most of the time.
Exactly. So you have passion for films and musicals,
Definitely. And they're going side by side in parallel for you, which is mesmerizing, really.
That's good. But if you give me your address, your airmail address, I'll send you the promotional CD of Giallo.
Okay, that's awesome. I will
If you
definitely.
have the CD record to listen to
Yes.
music, yes, I will send you the CD of Giallo, which is was made with a good printing quality, with a lot of photos of the film. It's a pity that nowadays almost no one is listening anymore to CDs. They're also only listening to music in the internet.
Yes, which sucks. This is not
That's
right.
something again that it's because I really believe in the CD, in the physical CD. And now it doesn't make sense to make more CDs if no one listens to them, That's the point. So I hope that something will change and the CD will come back like the LPs came back and will again be, of interest. But who knows?
Who knows? Yes, that's true. But we have to persevere,
Yeah.
I think. Like we have to keep listening. We have to keep listening to the CD. We have to keep it alive.
No, because the CD is not only something you listen to the music, you have informations about the film, about the score, photos of the film, photos of the composer, photos of the recording sessions, notes from the director. You have a lot of informations that in the digital CD you don't have.
And you keep archive of the music. Like the music feels like it has a weight. It has a physical presence. So I totally.
Exactly. You can touch the CD, you can touch the booklet inside the CD. It's a different approach. I mean, you can also always listen to music in the web, but it's good to have also CDs, in your home.
That's so true.
So
That's so true. Let's keep the cities alive, Marco.
exactly, I'm trying. You know, the latest Italian movie I wrote the music for, which is a film about Goffredo Mameli, was an Italian hero who wrote the lyrics of the national Italian anthem, Inno d'Italia. The music was produced by an Italian music publisher called Bixio, and I insisted, let's make the CD of the film score. Let's make the CD of the film score. He didn't want to make it because he said no one will buy it. Let's make the CD of the film score. I will buy you a few copies. At the end, he said, "Okay, Marco, let's do the CD." It was the only CD of the last 7 years he did of a new film score.
But it's amazing.
The only one, because
Yeah.
he only do digital CDs and internet.
That's, but you keep the music alive, Marco, and I will
I'm
keep it
trying.
too. And together, lift the filmmaking and music industry. Yes.
I'm trying. I will do my best.
Yes.
And I also keep the idea of working with real orchestra, not only with electronic sounds. That's only another thing I'm fighting, you know, to work with real orchestra, to keep the idea of orchestral traditional scores and music themes, and not always only sound design, electronic music, which is something that at the end is boring because there's no personality, nothing is coming out. You cannot listen outside the film that music because it almost give you no emotions, and I don't know. Yeah.
So true. That's so true. Let's keep the music alive. Let's keep the art alive.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Marco, I love talking to you so much. You're such a beacon of light and you are full of music. I could feel the music notes in front of my eyes. Thank you so much for being generous with your time. And I can't wait for Hello Beautiful to make success and for you to work on more and more projects.
Thank you very much. My pleasure, and I'll send you the link of Ibris, the song that I wrote for this Spanish movie with the beautiful voice and lyrics by Ellen Williams.
Thank you so much. I can't wait to listen to it. Thank you. It was a pleasure talking to you.
My pleasure.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thanks.